What's up, Nitro Nation? This is the XTM X2 that my buddy had me work on, so firing up this engine. I don't think it's been fired up in a long time. One of the issues was that the throttle linkage was just like rusted shut, so whenever he fired it up, it just screamed. So, and he didn't want to blow the motor up, so I fixed that. I mean, I basically in the last couple days tore this whole thing down. Now there is no diff fluid in the diffs at all, so I don't know what he wants to do with that. He needs to get the, because the weights that I have are way too thick for this thing. On a buggy with a tiny motor like this, I'd maybe run, I don't know, let's just say 40 in the middle and maybe 20 on the ends, just to get all the power to the ground, since he's not going to be racing it. I don't know, this is actually the first time for the Muggy Maniac ever firing up anything smaller than a .25. This is a .18 hung north. I mean, it's, you know, I want to say it's a cute little motor because this is, you know, these are little babies. They scream though. Listen to this thing. Yeah, that filter head was toast, so this is for a, you know, a big block filter, but I was able to put like, you know, the little exhaust rubber things that go on the end of the exhaust to keep the shit from going everywhere. I had extra ones of those, so I cut it up, put it inside of here, fit pretty tight, and that kind of made like a spacer to where this part right here of the filter is way too big for this little tiny carburetor. So I changed the tank. The tank he had was, you know, it had fuel sitting in it for months, so it was just ruined the filter and the line. So this pipe, the one he had on it, is you see him, was from a Sen. This is the actual, this is from my XTM Muggy. I have a couple extra of these, you know, because I don't run these couplers here. So, let's fire this thing up again. But anyway, hold on 1 second, people. This thing fired up again. Sorry about that. Well, it has to be tuned. It's not tuned, but the whole purpose of this was just to, you know, I'm helping out a Nitro brother, man, and that's what it's all about, you know. One thing that I don't ever want to do is I don't want to ever forget, you know, that I was a newbie. I think a lot of us, especially guys that have been around a lot, guys that have, you know, 1 million followers, kind of forgot what it was like when they had no subscribers. I mean, I don't have that many, and I'm not concerned about that. And I told you guys that over and over. I'm not concerned about how many subscribers that I have. I'm not concerned about, you know, likes, dislikes. You know, I really don't care. You know, my concern is just to see 8-scale Nitro grow and hopefully, you know, come back and, you know, like Rick. You know, I talked to Rick Break at RB Mods. You know, he said that he has a feeling, or that, you know, he knows that Nitro's going to come back with a vengeance. So I think, you know, thing that I did see of watching the, you know, the 2019 Dirt Nitros and everything, there was more excitement, and I think it's totally cool over the fact of, you know, the Nitro part of it than the E word. You know, and this is professional racing. You know, I mean, professional racing, I would like to say, helps keep it alive, because I don't think if there wasn't guys like Adam Drake and Ryan Mayfield and, you know, all the you know, top dogs racing the pros, you know, who knows where Nitro would be. It probably wouldn't even be around, you know. Anybody knows that the reason that the manufacturers keep making stuff for Nitro is because of guys like Adam Drake and Ryan Mayfield and Tebow and Cavallari and Lutz. And, you know, a lot of people don't know these guys behind the scenes, you know, try to fight to keep Nitro alive. Because, you know, if you ever hear these guys' interviews, and if you ever, you know, see Adam Drake's videos that he does, man, and he'll be the first one to tell you he is a Nitro brother, and he loves Nitro. And if he had it his way, you know, if not being for, you know, you gotta sing to the tune of corporate sponsors, you know, those are the ones who pays his bills, he would just do Nitro. He wouldn't even do electric. I think that's pretty cool, man. I mean, that would be hard for me, one thing about racing, because, you know, you have to do both. You know, that's the way it is, man. If you're racing for Team Mugen, Team Kyosho, Team, you know, whatever, Losi, I mean, you got to, you know, you got to race E-Word and Nitro. You can't just do what you want, I guess, you know, I mean, you know, because they're paying they're paying you, man. So, you know, anyway, this is the XTM XT, like I said. It came out, I believe, the same year as my the Muggy came out. And the Muggy came out, you know, 2005. That was the stadium version, they call it, which it's basically a Muggy. This was their 8-scale Nitro buggy. Like, this thing has most of the original stuff in it, but the guy that had this before, my buddy Lewis, his name's Lewis, that's the owner of this, he got it from, I mean, this guy just, this motor isn't obviously the original motor. It didn't have the original pipe. I mean, when I went through this thing was a Frankenstein, man. It had, like, all different types of hardware in it, you know. It didn't have, like, any set screws. I mean, this body, he painted it. I don't know why the hell. I mean, if it was that beat up, you could have just sanded it down to the aluminum, because this is, you know, 3mm aluminum, these chassis. You know, but I don't know why the hell that guy did that. But anyway, you know, I mean, I replaced all the hardware for him. You know, I mean, it's to help a brother out, you know. There's no oil in the shocks. I put, what'd I do? I think I put 35 in the front, 30 in the front. It's pretty decent. Some of the shafts, they're bent, so they need to be replaced. I have a whole, like, from the ones I pulled off of my XTM, I have a whole drawer of same shocks, like mint condition. These are like brand new. You know, maybe if the guy, he said he'll buy some stuff off me. I have a lot of extra parts for this thing, even though it is a buggy. But it was kind of, you know, I wasn't too sure, because, you know, it's a lot of work, man. When you try to restore something, and I've done this before, man, it's easier to build a kit. Put it that way. I mean, look, this is the boneyard of some of the hardware I took off. Like, this is the linkage for the brake linkage. I'm going to reuse that. This thing was just packed with rust. I mean, this thing was all rusted. A lot of these screws and stuff, I mean, if you look at them, I mean, they're just... Focus in on there. they're just, these damn cameras, they never want to focus. It's time for me to get the GoPro, people. Professionalism. At least I can go next level camera work. That's what I need to do. Next level camera work. But anyway, you know, I mean, a lot of this shit, I was like, man, I have so many extras that from my XTM that, you know, because I replaced all these with, you know, anodized aluminum ones. So I was like, you know, I have brand new ones that are nice and shiny that, you know, I have the black ones that I put on here. I just really, I mean, you guys seen the last video. If you see, this thing was beat the hell up. I mean, all the shafts were rusted. All the outer drives had rust all in them. I mean, all the hubs, carriers, and the outer drives on the all the dog bones. This thing was just like tons of rust, man. I think I went through, I don't know. I went through like 2 of these. So, you know, Dremel, wire wheel, man. Clean all that shit off of there. So, this isn't, the exhaust I put on here works. Gotta make sure I set this thing bottom dead center for this guy. And take all the fuel out of here. He might want to see it fired. But, you know, fire it up. Just needs to be tuned. Needs to be tuned. Now, his servos, they're just some cheapy off-brand servos. They're done. Toast. That's why, another reason why this thing was probably sticking wide open when he fired up. Because this motor is like really small for this platform. And it's the way it's set up with this carburetor, I don't like that. Because you want your carburetor, I have the XTM one in an angle just because the way the motor mounts and the motor goes in, the Novorossi goes in there, that's the only way I can do it. But on most vehicles, you want to make sure it's so important. Your throttle linkage is so important, man. If that shit sticks wide open or gets hung up when you're bashing or racing, excuse my language, you're fucked, man. That's when your shit just, you know, that's another thing, a part of a runaway. Not just your receiver batteries when they fail, nitro motors lock up. There's no, the failsafe only, and I heard people tell different things, but fact, okay, this is a fact. The failsafe on any 8-scale nitro only, it doesn't have a kill switch like a Fitzco. I wish they did. At least as far as I know. If they do, man, I need to get me one. But when your batteries fade out, or if your battery, that's why I got rid of switches. I don't even deal switches. None of my nitros have switches anymore. Techno doesn't have a switch. Muggy doesn't have a switch. Mugen doesn't have a switch, and the Mugen Buggy. Either of my Mugens. None of my shit has on and off switches anymore. Screw all that, man. I had too many issues with them. I don't care which ones you get. I just assume run my battery straight into my receiver. Zero chances of it failing unless your battery just, you don't pay attention, your battery isn't fully charged and it dies or whatever. Then, like I said, on nitros, your motor will lock up and it's gone. The failsafe is only when the radio receiver and loses, you know, the transmission. The failsafe causes it to just stop. That's it. So, you know, your linkages are important, man. You want to make sure these are smooth, they don't get binded up. Check your springs. I even put a little bit of, you know, tri-flu or any kind of little lubrication 3-in-1 on the linkage here because, you know, to make sure this slides back and forth. You know, this, you don't want this too tight. You don't want it binding at all, man. They need to slide. So anyway, that's a look at this thing. It's, I have, for the most part, revived it. It is born again hardcore for a little old school beater. I think he's going to want a bigger motor. I suggest, you know, I wouldn't spend a lot of money on this thing. I mean, it's okay, but for a first one, it's perfect for him. I would suggest that he puts a .21 in it. This .18 screams, has a lot of RPMs, but other than that, man, this, you know, I don't know, I'm going to run it and see how, I've never ran a .18, man. It's kind of weird, you know, here I am pulsarting shit again, which Man, it just reminds me of how much Pulsars suck. And I'm just waiting for them to break. But this one, you know, it's okay. You know what I mean? There isn't, the only positive part is you don't have to drag the bump box with you. But that's not even really a negative to me. It's just pulling this thing and forget all that. Plus, remember, I mean, you can just think of all the power. If this thing had a back plate on it, oh man, this little .18 would probably rip. For a small little, you know, for how small it is. But without the back plate and all that shit, all the one-way bearing and all that mechanisms in there, man, this thing is losing like 3,000 horsepower or 3,000 RPMs, and it's probably like a third of what that motor even has in the first place. So this is a KO share filter. Like I said, I fit this on for him. He has, this is a old school filter that just kind of snaps on like that. But yeah, I mean, it fires up, just has to be tuned up. He needs new servos. Once he gets new servos, he's picking up some new tires, because these tires are gonzo. Where is that? Two of them are like just tore back. Look, here you go. Oh bueno. I don't really think that little .18 has enough horsepower to really do anything to that. But anyway, that's it. I just want to do a little quickie just to kind of update you guys, let you hear what a, you know, and me for the first time, what a .18 sounds like. Firing one up, man. It's kind of, you know, it is cool in a sense, because this is new to me, you know. Is this going to advance me or put me next level? Hell no. But it just gives me experience, you know, with, you know, a motor that I've never owned or ran. Like I said, smallest I have was a .21. You know, stock, modified, you know, Chinese, Italian. I've got different .21s. You know, .25s I'm familiar with. 28s, .32s, you know, just 18. You know, it's a tiny little thing, man. But, you know, like I said, the whole thing is, it's for the newbie, man. I don't want, like I said, forget where I came from. And remember, I was a newbie, and if I came to a guy and had something and I didn't know really what to do, I would hope somebody would help me out. You know, I'll never turn down anybody for help, especially when it comes to Nitro. I mean, I've had guys ask for help for eWord. And even though I know eWord, you know, I did that for many, many years before Nitro. Just eWord, I couldn't work on eWord, you know what I mean? Not that I don't want to help somebody out, it's just, it's not my thing. eWord, I don't want to even, you know, mess with eWord, man. I don't care if it's a .12 Nitro and it's a newbie and he needs some help with it, then I'm going to help him. But you bet your ass that I'm talking this guy, man. You need to put a real pipe on this thing. We need to get you at least a 053 Dynamite. We need to throw on a frickin', at least get you a .21 on this bad boy. You know, we need to get you some sab boxes, and, you know, we need to get you some Pro Line, some DEs with some Badlands. You know, I mean, this guy wants to get out there and he wants to bash with me too. You know, so, you know, I'm just helping him out, and, you know, this thing is about as clean as it's going to get, man. Well, he's going to trip out. He hasn't seen it yet. He's supposed to come by this evening. When he sees this thing, he ain't going to even recognize it. I mean, it has suspension that works. You know, it's nice and clean. You know, felt good, you know, to help somebody out, and, you know, to see the end result of you know, your sweat. You know, I wrenched and went to bat for this guy, and really, you know, sacrificed my time. You know, like I said, I was gonna run techno today, man. Nice weather. I gotta run I don't know, man, but I'm thinking. I'm not gonna promise anything, but I'm thinking, since I've ran the techno, and, you know, I'm still running fuel through getting the .28 nice and seated and dialed in. Man, I miss my Muggy, man. I'm almost ready to fire up my Muggy, man. And even my stock Novorossi 28.8 over there, man. That thing is so fun. I love driving that thing, man. I might fire that thing up next. Who knows? I don't know. I'll make what I call a game time decision. It's either going to be this one or that one. And then we'll get to the NBX, man. I miss all my vehicles, man. It's like, I mean, they're like your children, man. You know, when you don't see them for a while, or you don't interact from a while, or whatever, it's like, man, I miss my buggy too, man. I want to fire up my modified badass res motor right there, man. Especially option all this racing this weekend, man. I'm fired up to get running, man. I got to get out there, man. Weather's perfect right now. It's decent weather here in the 60s. No rain. And, yeah, I'm going to get out there. But, like I said, duty called. Another Nitro brother needed my help, so the Muggy Maniac came to the rescue. Rescued his platform. We're not done. To be continued. We're going to get this thing to where, you know, I'll actually show you guys some footage of this thing actually running, man. I want to see what this little .18 does, man. I want to see this thing rip. See what it does and see how it runs, so. Anyway, that's all I got, people. Oh, and somebody made, me and one of my brothers were talking. By the way, shout out to my brothers, Elite RC, Mr. John Bodegel, Mr. Roger 111. You know, guys out there that are actually putting up videos and doing the work. If you're putting up videos, I'm not saying, if you're not putting up videos, I'm not saying you're not doing the work. I just don't know. I don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? So, I try to keep putting up videos even when I really don't have time. You know, a lot of times, just for the sake of, you know, keeping you guys, you know, up to speed. What's up with the Muggy Maniac? What I got going on? You know, so, even if it's just a, you know, throw in my 2 cents. And you guys know how that is, man. Keeping it real. 100%, people. Oh, and the Dirt Nitro race that Ryan Mayfield, like, spanked everybody's ass, man. Truggy, he spanked that ass. Buggy, he spanked that ass. He just brought out the broom and sweeped everybody. Angaro could have won. And it kind of brings me back to what you know, if you ever heard this about sports. It's not the best team that necessarily wins on game day in football, baseball, basketball, whatever. I love sports. It's the team that makes the fewest mistakes. And I'll tell you what, if you watched the Nitro Challenge last weekend, it's on YouTube. You can watch it. It's, you know, all said and done. Angaro, if he didn't make any mistakes, it would have been a battle to the wire with him and Mayfield, because they were both on a tear, and Mayfield, you know, was doing his thing, and man, Angaro just kept making all these mistakes, man. He just fell apart. So I'm surprised he finished the way he did. So, and credit due where credit's due, you know. Check out Mr. Dakota Fan. All you low-C people out there, you guys should be excited. That's the best, most exciting news to a low-C, you know, a full-on low-C guy. None other than Dakota Fan, Team low-C, in the buggy, coming in second. You know, he made a podium. Low-C made a freaking podium in Nitro, and I don't know how long. That was probably a big relief for a lot of people that love low-C, and all you low-C guys out there, and Mr. Bodegel Za, there's your low-C guy, Dakota Fan, finally whipped it together, and, you know, it took all of the guys from low-C, I mean, all the corporate guys, all the guys from low-C were out there, not just the drivers, man, the managers and the crew, all the guys that have anything to do with low-C's, man. Even the suits are out there, man, trying to figure it out, because they're like, listen, we haven't got a podium in I don't know how long, and people are, you know, we're going to start losing, you know, our low-C fan. Well, I mean, they're not going to lose people, but people are going to start to think, hey, what's up with low-C, man? They can't even get on a freaking podium, man. You know, they had the X out, it's been over a year now. Can't figure it out. Well, they finally figured something out. What I would do is snapshot whatever they did to figure it out at that Nitro challenge to get second place. Man, put that one in the books, write all that shit down, and don't change anything, man. If you do, you're freaking crazy, man. It's kind of like if you're making a cake and it comes out really good, and then you decide, yeah, let me try this, let me try that, and the cake comes out, you know, excuse my language again, fucked up. Well, why would you change the ingredients? It came out perfect, man. You know, it came out great. Don't change anything, man. Just keep doing the same thing, man. And who knows, low-C might get back up in there, you know, and get in the mix. So, I mean, I give credit due where credit's due, man. You know, you guys know I'm not a low-C guy, and sometimes I'm pretty hard on them. I'm probably one of their toughest critics because I think it's just because so many people are low C, low C, low C, low C, low C, low C, low C this, low C that. Well, most of the time I'm like, well, low C hasn't done shit in the real world of racing and professional and proven that they have a winning next level, you know, up-to-date platform. But, yeah, hopefully that this will be a change of things for low C, man, and maybe they can get back up in the mix where they're supposed to be. So, you know, I give credit due where credit's due, so nobody can say, why do you beat up low C all the time, or why are you tough on low C guys? Well, hey, man, I give criticism due when criticism is due as well, so, and you guys know that. I keep it 100% real on my channel. If you don't like what I say, like I said, you don't like when I tell out the truth, you know, about Traxxas and Horizon and low C, if that offends you, oh well. Hey, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if the shoe fits, wear that shit, man. Man up. Own your shit. I do. People criticize me all the time. Did I go run and hide? Hell no, man. If it's a fact, it's a fact. What can I say? You know? So anyway, Mayfield said if it wasn't for Adam Drake dialing in his truggy, I don't know about the buggy, I know he said the truggy, that he wouldn't have won the truggy. He said Adam had that MBX 8T truggy freaking money, had that shit dialed, and he said Mayfield said if it wasn't for Adam dialing it in, getting me set up, man, I wouldn't have won the truggy. Now, I don't know if he had anything to do with the buggy, he didn't say that, but possibly could too. You know, Adam knows what's up, man. I mean, you know, I know Adam hasn't been doing a lot, you know, lately, but, you know, I just want to see, you know, and you know, quick note before I end this video, I started a huge conversation because I'm part of a Mugen Facebook site, webpage, and I brought up the question, you know, because it kind of, you know, I love Adam, man. That guy, man, I have the most respect for that guy. He does the videos all the time. He's in touch with the Nitro and RC world, man. Guy's a legend. He's the Dale Earnhardt, like I've said many times, of RC. Nitro, E-Word, whatever. He is the Dale Earnhardt. And he's still alive, thank God. You know, so when he's not doing well, man, I look at that and like, well, what's going on? And he hasn't got on the podium, and, you know, he's won podiums on other races, but I'm talking about big events, major events. He has, and right now in the world, he's like 18th out of 25. And he really seems like he's struggling. I mean, sure, he helped out Mayfield and everything, but why couldn't he do the same thing to his and win? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because I don't think Adam's driving game is where it needs to be right now, or where it usually is. I haven't seen him struggle this much in the beginning of a season in many, many seasons, man. Last year, you know, he didn't struggle a lot, but, you know, I mean, now you're looking at, he didn't even make the A main in 8-scale Nitro buggy. I don't know if he made truck, I got to check, but I know in buggy he didn't. You know, and Adam's always in the A mains, you know, and is he a great driver? Sure he is. Is he one of the fastest in the world? Sure. Is he? Yeah, all this, but we're talking about a guy that lives up, people look up to this guy and they're like, okay, well, I mean, how long could he go unnoticed of not even being in the top 10 without somebody, you know, like saying, hey, well, what's going on? And I know he knows. He knows. He knows he's not in the game right now. He knows he's getting his ass spanked by all these young and up-and-coming guys, and even guys that have been around. I mean, Ryan Lutz even, you know, placed in the A-main. I think he was like top 10 maybe, but I mean, and Ryan Lutz has been around forever too. I just think Adam's driving game has slipped. You know, whether he's lost his mojo right now or whatever. There's no doubt that he knows how to tune, he knows what he's doing, wrenching, dialing in, teaching, all that. I'm just talking his pure driving skills. I don't think he's aggressive enough right now and in his game of driving an 8-scale Nitro to be competitive, and he needs to take a look at that. And I mentioned it in the forum, and man, I haven't seen so many people just start chatting about it. And Mugen's, you know, it's never nothing exciting and all these people talking about stuff, you know, here and there. Man, all these guys just started, hey, I don't think Adam should retire. What are you talking about, man? He's one of the best and one of the fastest, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't say any of that. I didn't say that he wasn't any of those things. All I said is, when does a guy that's been around for 35 plus years racing at his level, okay, take a look at, okay, do I continue to just be mediocre and settle for, you know, top 20? Or do I say, you know what, maybe it's time to make one more run or another run or two? I don't look at him retire anytime soon, but, you know, he doesn't need to prove anything. He can walk away right now, and he's good. And one guy made a comment I thought was pretty cool. Hey, keep on running as long as they're funding. I feel the same way. I would run as long as you got the funds. So as long as Mugen and all the sponsors are paying his bill and he ain't paying shit out of his pocket and getting paid, hey, keep going until you run it into the ground. But at the same time, you got to have some pride and say, listen, I'm Adam Drake, man. I mean, man, I can't even get a podium here in a major event. What the hell's going on? So I just want to see him go out on top. I don't want to see him go out like a lot of these guys you see in sports where they should have retired at the peak of their career or the top of their game, and they wait till their career's in the shithole and they're doing horrible and then walk away. I mean, what's your last memory of the guy? Does that change the memory? Well, you just doesn't, I think, but you just don't want to see people go out like that. And I would hate to see Adam. I hope he comes around full circle this year, spanks some ass, and at least get some good major wins. I'd like to see him get top 3 in the world. I don't know if that'll happen because there's just too many guys that are faster and more aggressive and driving right now. But who's to say he can't? You know, make one more run and then, you know, sit down and, okay, you know, where do I step back and just be a team manager or, you know, be somebody in the corporate and help developing like he does anyway. So that's all I was saying, you know, and I'm sure I'm going to get comments after this video. What are you saying, Adam should retire? No, I'm not saying he should retire, but I would be thinking about it at every dinner with my wife, his wife Rhonda. You know, how long do I, you know, my driving really stinks. Or is he, you know, content with that? Is he looking at like, wow, at least I finished in the top 20? I don't think Adam's like that. Knowing the way that guy is, you know he's competitive, and he does not like to be in the position of, you know, being a has-been or people thinking that he is, including me. I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he has a badass year. I hope he kicks some ass this year. And then, you know, and as long as he can continue to compete in the top 10, then I wouldn't consider nothing. But if he can't even compete in the top 10 in nationals and championships and stuff, then maybe it is time to think about, you know, hanging it up. So anyway, I just wanted to throw in that, you know, like I said, people can comment how they want. Tell me what you guys think. Comment on the bottom. Should Adam Drake continue to just settle for being an okay driver or mediocre driver, or as far as professionals, as long as he finishes in the top 25, he's good? Or do you think that he should, you know, if he's not able to compete anymore, think about, you know, stepping away? So anyway, that's all I got. This thing is you know, nice and fresh, and man, I don't know, this guy must have loved orange or something. It seems like I call it the pumpkin car. It's got all orange shit. I had to throw a couple little yellow things in here and there. So other than that, that's pretty much it. Getting prepared to you know, see what he wants to do with this, and then I'm gonna get back to my stuff and start running my shit. So anyway, that's all I got, people.